Hey friends, it's Chrissy Helmer from Next Level Living, and today we are talking about what you really need. Now, I'm just going to give you a couple things because the entire episode, all the deets, are over on the podcast, so make sure you head over to iTunes or Stitcher and listen to the entire podcast. This is a conversation that I had on my story, and I got so much feedback, and so turned it into a podcast episode. I believe it's a conversation that we all should be having, but it's a conversation a lot of us avoid. We avoid this conversation because we don't want to get raw, we don't want to get real, we don't want to get honest, and we don't want to have to make those changes. Change can be hard. So guys, oftentimes when we're going through something, maybe there's a transition season, there's a season of change, we're going through loss, maybe we're going through grief, and grief doesn't always mean death. I have grieved the season that I don't have little kids anymore, and that my boys are both teenagers and they're in different seasons of their life. I've grieved seasons of business. I've grieved friendships, friends that have moved. So maybe you're in that process, and I'm going to tell you from a very raw place, this last year, the last 2 years, have been incredibly difficult for me on every level of my life. And it's also because I chose about 2 years ago to stay consistent and to just keep digging into the same thing. As a visionary, as a pioneer, it's so easy to get distracted. Like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to start this thing. I'm going to join this force. I'm going to collab, which is great. And there's seasons for that. But I knew I needed to dig my heels in my own family, my own business, my own podcast, the people that I work with, and really just hone that, which I've been doing this, you guys, for over 10 years. If you go back to my post from 2007, you're going to see that I'm encouraging and inspiring people. This isn't new for me. And I actually talk about that on the podcast this week as well. So, but in those seasons, sometimes we want to pull away from our pain and we want to numb our pain, and that can be extreme. We can numb our pain with drugs, with alcohol, with other addictions, but it might look so simple and it might look so like that's not even numbing my pain, but it is. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I should get a puppy and I'm going to get a new car and I want to move. I want to switch jobs. I want to chop off my hair. Are those things in themselves bad? No, but we have to ask ourselves, am I using this as a distraction? Am I using this to not have to really sink in and do the work, do the mental, the emotional, the spiritual work? Am I not stopping and doing work, you guys? Looks like prayer, meditation, healing, forgiveness, journaling, and yes, it is work. But it is worth it so that we can be our healthiest selves. So the next season we go through, we handle it with more grace. We're able to recognize our triggers. We're able to recognize the feelings and emotions and process through them. Because what happens, I talked about this in the episode on healing hurtful words, is that we don't heal that one hurt feeling and then another and then another. We do this thing called piling. And then that is going to manifest into something which usually looks like anger, abuse, addiction, abandonment, if we don't deal with that. And we can see that as well with if we're not walking through our pain, through our process, through our disappointment. You might think, oh, that's not a big deal. She just moved. And we try to, underestimate the depth of what we're feeling, even if it's disappointment, even if it's disappointment in ourselves, or you have a birthday and your life isn't what you thought it would be. And so we think, I'm going to move. I'm going to change jobs. I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to dye my hair. I'm going to get a puppy. I'm going to redecorate my house. I'm going to bury myself in something. I'm going to start something. I'm going to start a blog. Because it pulls us away from that. And sometimes we need to just stop and we need to stay. And we need to know, what do we really need? Because we really don't need a puppy. We really don't need a car. We really don't need to move. We need to do work on the inside. So guys, if this is speaking to you, it's resonating to you, head over to the podcast, listen to the entire episode, or maybe you know someone that's going through pain or transition, or maybe they're talking about moving or getting a puppy or cutting their hair, and you're thinking, wait a second, is this deeper? And I'm even confessing the things that I almost did over the last 6 months. Almost got a puppy, almost got a 65 Mustang, almost. But I recognized that I was distracting myself. And I recognized also it just wasn't the time or season. Sometimes it's not a no, it's just a not yet. And so there could be that too in determining what season we're in and if it's the right timing for things. So guys, I'm pumped about this. I want you to find a friend that you can talk through this with. Find someone that you can share this message with and that it's going to resonate with them, and you guys can bounce things off each other and you could be accountable to what do we really need. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll chat soon.